My name is Kiana Jackson, and the day my teacher said I'd never make it past high school, a fierce determination sparked in my soul. It was a dreary October morning in 2018, the air heavy with the metallic scent of rain on Chicago's South Side, where I grew up in a cramped apartment above a laundromat. I was 16, a quiet girl with a slight lisp and a passion for poetry, struggling through Ms. Evelyn Hargrove's English class at Carver High. She was a rigid woman in her 50s, her gray bun pulled tight, her critiques as sharp as her ruler. During a feedback session, she slapped my shaky poem, about a girl escaping poverty, onto my desk. "Jackson," she snapped, "with that speech you'll never graduate. Try a factory job." Her words mirrored my mom's weary advice and my sister Aisha's teasing about my dreamer ways. I left class, my face flushed, the poem crumpled in my hand. That night, alone with my battered laptop, I stared at the words I'd written. She told me I'd never make it past high school, so I saved her a front row seat at my speech. The rejection cut deep. I'd always been the different one. My lisp drawing giggles, my poems earning smirks from peers, my teachers shaking their heads. Ms. Hargrove's class was a gauntlet. Her red-inked comments labeled my work unpolished trash. My mom, a nurse pulling double shifts, urged me to get practical, while Aisha, a hairdresser, called my writing cute but useless. Yet I found refuge in the South Side Players, a community theater group led by Ms. Lorraine Tate, a warm director who saw promise in my halting recitals. I practiced alone, recording my voice, taming my lisp with each replay. By 2019, I'd saved $200 from babysitting and odd jobs, joining their free workshops. The pain of dismissal fueled a dream. I'd prove them wrong, not just with a diploma, but with a spotlight they couldn't escape. The path was relentless. I juggled school, theater, and work, sleeping 3 hours a night. My grades teetered at C's, Ms. Hargrove's prophecy looming. I enrolled in a free speech therapy program, spending $50 on materials, my savings dropping to $150. Ms. Tate mentored me, teaching breath control, encouraging me to perform Maya Angelou under the community center's flickering lights. My debut, a 3-minute piece about a girl finding her voice, drew polite claps, but my lisp stumbled on the final line. I wept that night, but Tate's encouragement, "Flaws are your power," pushed me forward. I analyzed recordings, improving by 2020. My mom began attending rehearsals, her pride flickering through exhaustion, though she still favored stability. Crafting my ascent took courage. I pursued a GED through night classes at a community college after scraping by high school in 2020. Ms. Hargrove's last report, "No future in arts," was a wound. I worked 20-hour weeks, saving $1,000, and auditioned for the Players' annual showcase at the Chicago Theater, a prestigious event drawing 500 attendees. My piece, Voice of the Shadows, blended my life into a poetic journey of overcoming lisp and all. I rehearsed 120 times, my delivery strengthening. The showcase, slated for June 2022, needed $500 for costumes and staging. Funds I lacked. I launched a GoFundMe, raising $350 from neighbors, and borrowed $150 from Tate, vowing to repay. Preparation was a marathon. I designed a set, painted brick walls, a glowing lantern, collaborating with the Players team. My savings grew to $900, but anxiety gnawed. Ms. Hargrove, retired and living nearby, became my target. I mailed her an invite, reserving her a front row seat. Doubts surfaced. Would my lisp fail me? Would she dismiss me again? I pressed on, training with Tate, who rigged a mic to enhance my projection. The night before, I memorized every stanza, my hands trembling as I adjusted my second-hand dress. My mom hemmed it, her eyes wet with hope. June 15, 2022 dawned muggy, the theater alive with setup. Lights, sound, excited murmurs. At 6 p.m. Ms. Hargrove arrived, her face stern, seated as requested. The showcase opened flawlessly. The audience, 300 strong including critics, marveled at the set, leaning into the narrative. I took the stage, my heart racing, and began. They said I'd fail. I said, my voice steady despite a faint lisp. The room quieted as I recited rejection, struggle, triumph. My speech a melody of resilience. Applause surged mid-poem, a reviewer scribbling notes. Ms. Hargrove's expression softened, tears brimming. The piece closed with a standing ovation, my name echoing. A journalist approached, asking for details. Backstage, I breathed victory, bittersweet but real. The tension peaked when Ms. Hargrove approached. I misjudged you, she murmured, her voice thick. I nodded, accepting her words, but a figure loomed outside. A silhouette in the alley. My phone buzzed with an unknown number. Brilliant. Keep silent. I froze. Who were they? A rival? A past foe? The triumph wavered, a new enigma emerging. I saved the message, my mind spinning. The stage was mine, but what danger awaited? The cryptic message, brilliant. Keep silent, haunted me as I locked the Chicago theater's backstage door, the echo of the showcase's standing ovation fading into the humid June night. I stood in the dimly lit corridor, the scent of fresh paint and perspiration lingering, my hands trembling as I reread the unknown number's text on my cracked phone screen. Who was watching? Ms. Hargrove's tearful apology, a hard-won victory after years of ridicule, felt overshadowed by this shadowy presence. My heart pounded, a blend of exhilaration and dread coursing through me. The showcase on June 15, 2022 had been a triumph. My poem Voice of the Shadows resonating with 300 attendees, critics scribbling notes, and my name whispered in local art circles. Yet that silhouette outside and the message hinted at a new danger lurking beyond the spotlight. I saved the number, determined to trace its origin, and walked home through the South Side's quiet, graffiti-strewn streets, the weight of the unknown pressing against my chest. The next morning, I met Ms. Lorraine Tate, my mentor from the South Side Players, at the community center, the aroma of stale coffee and worn wood offering a semblance of calm. Her warm brown eyes scanned the text as she adjusted her glasses, her expression turning serious. This could be a jealous rival or something darker, she said, her voice low. File a report and ride your success wave. You've got the city's attention now. I nodded, my mind racing with possibilities. The showcase had sparked media buzz. Teen poet Stuns with Stutter headlined the Chicago Tribune, and poetry reading requests poured in, boosting my freelance income to $1,500 monthly from sporadic gigs. I visited the local precinct, the officer noting the theater's prominence, assigning a detective named Officer Patel to the case. I hired a private investigator, Maria Gonzalez, a wiry woman with a sharp gaze, to dig into the figure and message, costing $2,000 and dipping my savings to $700 from the $1,200 I'd earned. My career took flight. I joined the Windy City Voices, a spoken word collective, performing at open mics across the city, and hired a manager, Deshawn, to handle bookings, spending $500 on his retainer. The showcase netted $3,000 in gig offers, including a community college event, pushing my savings to $1,200. I rented a small studio near my apartment, its bare walls and creaky floorboards becoming my creative haven, where I worked 14-hour days refining my craft, writing new poems, practicing diction, and recording sessions to smooth my lisp. Ms. Hargrove, now retired, reached out via a handwritten note, offering to mentor me, her tone laced with regret. My mom attended my next reading at a library, her tired eyes shining with pride, while Aisha, my sister, brought flowers, her teasing replaced by admiration. But Maria's initial report unsettled me. The hoodie figure matched Darius Reed, a local promoter known for undermining rising talents, his last protege fading after a scandal. He's threatened by your buzz, Maria said. Might have backers. The unknown they from the text flickered in my thoughts, a puzzle piece I couldn't place. The threat escalated a week later. A package arrived at my studio, torn sheet music stained with coffee, a note, step down or break. No sender. My stomach churned as I unfolded the paper, the ink smudging under my fingers. I called Tate, her voice steadying me as she advised heightened security and a public stance. I installed cameras costing $1,500 and hired a part-time guard, a burly man named Tony, to patrol nights. The police analyzed the note, smudged prints suggesting gloves, inconclusive results. Maria traced the delivery to a drop-off point near Darius's office in a rundown strip mall, but the courier claimed cash payment, the trail ending there. Paranoia crept in, every shadow a potential threat, yet I refused to retreat. I leaned on the showcase's fame, launching a Resilient Rhymes workshop series at community centers, which sold out for $2,000, adding to my funds and drawing 50 attendees eager to learn from my journey. Darius made contact, calling from a blocked number, his voice a low growl. "Kiana, you're stepping on toes bigger than mine," he warned, a hint of nervousness breaking through. I hung up, my curiosity piqued despite the threat. Maria dug deeper, uncovering Darius's ties to Apex Talent, a cutthroat agency that had lost clients, local poets and musicians, to my grassroots success. "They're behind this," Maria said, showing me emails hinting at a smear campaign. I confronted Darius at a neutral cafe on the west side, my guard Tony shadowing me. "Back off," I demanded, my voice firm despite a slight lisp. He smirked, leaning back. "You're a threat to Apex's profits. Bigger names want you gone." I left, his words a riddle, but the agency's involvement suggested a coordinated attack. I mounted a counteroffensive. With Tate's guidance and Elena Ruiz, a lawyer she recommended, I sued Darius for harassment, using the note, Maria's findings, and witness statements from the showcase. The case was precarious, relying on circumstantial evidence, but it forced Apex to respond. I boosted my profile, securing a $5,000 contract with a community college for a semester-long poetry class, and a $2,000 gig at a cultural festival, pushing my personal valuation to $10,000. The college provided security during events, easing my nerves, while my workshops grew to include teens with speech challenges, mirroring my path. But the pressure mounted. A break-in attempt triggered my cameras. 2 figures in hoodies fled, leaving a scratched mic stand and a graffiti tag, "Apex Rules." The police labeled it intimidation, linking it to Darius, but I sensed a deeper force. The lawsuit hearing approached. I gathered evidence, Maria's reports, the note, Darius's threat, and footage, working late into the night to organize it, my studio lit by a single lamp. Apex's lawyer offered a $2,000 settlement with an NDA during a tense call. "Walk away, kid," he pressed. "No," I told Elena. "I want them exposed." The day arrived, a packed courtroom in downtown Chicago, the air thick with anticipation. Darius grinned as I took the stand, recounting the showcase, the threats, his cafe admission. My voice steadied as I presented the sheet music, my lisp a quiet strength. The judge frowned, ordering Darius to testify. Maria's testimony, linking Apex to the drop-off and tag, swayed the court. The judge issued a restraining order, fined Darius $4,000, and ordered $1,500 restitution, a partial but significant win. As I left, Darius muttered, "This isn't over," his eyes darting to the back row where a suited man lingered. That night my phone buzzed again, same unknown number. "You delayed us. The price is steep." A photo followed, my studio window now with a bullet hole. I froze, the air leaving my lungs. Who were they? Apex's elite, including that suited man? A rival poets syndicate? The victory felt fragile, a new enemy emerging. I called Maria, who promised intensified surveillance and suggested notifying the FBI given the escalation. My career was rising, workshops booked through 2023, a potential book deal on the horizon, but the fight wasn't over. Standing in my studio, the cracked window a stark reminder, I felt the weight of my triumph and the shadow closing in. What would come next? The cracked window of my studio and the ominous text, "You won a round." The war's hours lingered in my mind as I stood in my Chicago apartment, the city's hum blending with the patter of rain outside. The showcase triumph, my poem Voice of the Shadows earning acclaim, Ms. Hargrove's apology, and my rising name, felt like a fading echo against this new peril. My pulse raced as I clutched my phone, the unknown number a stark reminder of the battle won and the conflict brewing. The police investigation into Darius Reed's harassment had slowed, the restraining order a brittle shield. Who were they? Apex Talent's inner circle? A rival poet's vendetta? I called Maria, my investigator, my voice firm despite the unease. "Track them down," I said. "They're too close." She promised round-the-clock efforts, her tone grave. The victory was mine, Darius humbled, my career soaring, but the fight wasn't over. The next day I met Ms. Lorraine Tate, my mentor, at a secure cafe in the Loop, the scent of roasted beans cutting through my tension. Her brow furrowed as she reviewed the photo and text. "This is escalation," she said, tapping the cracked window. Push the police for a task force and use your platform. You're a target now. I nodded, my mind racing with strategies. At the studio, I briefed my team, 4 poets, a manager. In the cluttered space, the air thick with anticipation. We're under threat, I explained, showing the evidence. Their faces hardened, but they pledged loyalty. Income had risen to $2,000 monthly from workshops, a testament to my growth, but danger shadowed every rhyme. I spent $3,500 on reinforced windows and hired a full-time guard, reducing my savings to $400. Security became my anchor. Maria's first update came that evening. She tailed Darius to a meeting with Apex executives. One, a sleek woman named Vanessa Cole with a history of blacklisting artists. They're livid, Maria said. Your success cost them clients. I related to Tate, who contacted a lawyer, Elena Ruiz, to escalate legally. Meanwhile, I threw myself into work, launching a Poets Resilience tour across Illinois, booking $5,000 in gigs and earning $2,000. My savings climbed to $600, my valuation hitting $15,000. Ms. Hargrove attended a reading, her support growing, while my mom and Aisha cheered from the front row. But the threat cast a pall over every performance. A second note arrived days later. Burn ticket stubs with "Final Warning" scrawled in red slipped under my door. No prints. The police upgraded the case to a stalking investigation, assigning a detective, but leads were scarce. I called Elena, who suggested a public campaign to expose the harassment, rallying community support. I agreed, drafting a statement with her. From failure to fame, I face shadowy foes. I won't be silenced. The press conference held outside Carver High drew 80 reporters. My voice trembled as I held up the stubs, but I stood firm. The story hit, Poet Battles Mystery Stalker, boosting my bookings to $3,000 monthly, though the risk heightened. Maria's next report deepened the mystery. She traced the unknown number to a burner phone bought near Vanessa's office, tying it to Apex's leadership. Darius is a pawn, Maria said. Vanessa's boss, a mogul named Victor Lang, might be pulling strings, jealous of your indie rise. I shivered, the stakes rising. Elena filed for an emergency injunction to freeze Apex's local accounts, stalling their moves. I fortified the studio, adding $2,000 in alarms and a second guard. My savings dipped to $200, but the team's resolve held. I trained them in safety drills, turning the space into a fortress. The cybercrime probe gained momentum. Elena uncovered emails. Vanessa ordering Darius to sabotage my gigs, costing me $4,000 in cancellations. I reported it to the police, who raided Apex's office, seizing devices. Ms. Hargrove called, worried. Kiana, be careful. This feels big. I thanked her, her concern a balm. Aisha texted, offering to help, her guilt evident. I met her at a park, recording her insight. Vanessa bragged about shutting you down. I passed it to Elena, adding conspiracy charges. The police widened the net, targeting Victor. The courtroom showdown loomed. I testified, detailing the showcase, the threats, Aisha's tip. Vanessa's lawyer painted me as a troublemaker, but the police evidence, emails, call logs, gig sabotage, tipped the scales. The judge issued a permanent restraining order, fined Vanessa $30,000, and ordered $10,000 restitution. Darius got probation. Victor faced a probe. As I left, Vanessa hissed, "You'll pay for this." Apex's reputation dipped, losing 20% of clients. Victory transformed my life. My savings hit $1,000 with new contracts. $4,000 monthly from the tour, $2,000 from a poetry festival. My valuation soared to $20,000. I moved to a loft near Lake Michigan, its view a retreat after months of struggle. I hosted a team celebration, toasting with sparkling juice under string lights. But the peace shattered when a package arrived, unsealed, no sender. The cracked window photo, a new note, "You're marked. Speak and fall." No signature. My blood ran cold. Maria traced it to a dead-end account. The police suspected Victor's network, but proof was elusive. I hired a cybersecurity firm, spending $3,000 to protect my digital presence. The threat persisted. A car tailed me one night, vanishing when guards intervened. My email was hacked, a video file, A masked figure saying, "Your voice ends here." The police formed a task force, but progress lagged. I channeled fear into my art, launching a Silent No More anthology sold out for $5,000, turning adversity into profit. The festival contract grew to $3,000 monthly. I planned a memoir, Stutter to Spotlight, and a workshop for stuttering youth, working late to draft it. Yet the enemy's leader eluded me. One afternoon, reviewing footage, a figure lingered near the loft, too grainy to identify. Maria enhanced it, suggesting a man, possibly Victor's enforcer. The police interviewed me for 6 hours, mapping Apex ties, but the mastermind remained a phantom. I added $2,500 in motion sensors. My savings stabilized at $2,000, but the vigilance cost weighed heavily. Standing on my balcony, the lake shimmering, I felt a bittersweet win. Ms. Hargrove supported me, my family rallied, but the "we" in those notes loomed. Was it Victor's elite? A rival poet? I sipped tea, the rain softening, but that marked photo's shadow lingered. Who was next? Only time would tell. Hey Revenge Tempest fans. Kiana's journey from rejection to stardom is epic. Loved it? Smash that subscribe button and join our crew. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from.